We are live. Welcome. Good evening to everyone. Good to see everybody. We got some people in the house. Yes, we do. My goodness, double rainbows holding it down, and blue is in the house. Just make sure I got a couple of items here checked. Good to see some people up in the house. Humongous is in the house. This one's a new one, huh? Never heard this case. Standing by. I hear you, Humongous. We need to get in contact with each other, Humongous, by email or some way. Please email me. It'll be in the description box below. Make a note of it. We have to talk. We got to talk. We got to talk. Sage Sleuth is in the house. Welcome, lovely. Miss Sage Sleuth. My goodness. Pammy B is in the house. Welcome. Good evening to you. Angela P is in the house. Welcome. Carol Smith is in the house. Carrie Lawson is in the house. My goodness, y'all just gang busting. Just roll in. That's right. Don't forget to check in at the front door. A thumbs up so this can go into the algorithm. Help us out. Help this story out. Expose this story. That's what we do it for. Pigeon Mac is in the house. Rolling to work and listening. Okay, be safe. Be safe. Kentucky is in the house. Hello. Welcome. RJ Conversations Living Room is in the house. How you doing, brother? German Shepherd Mom is in the house. Okay. German Shepherd. We got the dogs. We got everybody coming in the house tonight. That's interesting. Tuning in from New Jersey is in the house. Well, I'm right over the water. Yeah, I'm in New York. Know what time it is. Sent you some new stuff on this case today. Okay. That's good. That's good. Because this is just one of a series covering this case. I just started doing some work on it. So tonight we're going to be going over a good portion of what you already know. Kylie's car and her body has been found. Obviously, the word is out there. Nothing new. And the process of a death investigation has begun. Fatal accident death investigation has begun. So with that said, my goodness, Candy Cane is in the house. Welcome. You know what time it is. We're going to get busy. You know how we get busy. Tonight, we're going to be covering the story of Miss KIELY RODNI, age 16, went missing August 5th, going to a party out in Prosser Lake campground area, only not to return home that night like she should have. Let's go to work. I want to welcome everyone who's just joining us this evening for Cue the Truth special live event covering the KIELY RODNI case out of California. Welcome. We got, Miss Justice is in the house. Okay. Kiska, Sweet Belle is in the house. Miss Cat Eyes is in the house. Welcome, all of you. Tonight we're going to be covering just some of the additional details that I wanted to address covering this case. And for those of you who are just new to this story, this is a young 16-year-old who went missing at a party out in Prosser Lake campgrounds in the Nevada area. And what pulled me to this story was not the buzz online, but once again, someone goes missing, no one's talking, and no one knows what happened. Sort of like the Kanika Jenkins case. And in this case, September the 8th, 9th, and 10th of 2017, began to emerge. I watched it for a while. I was co-hosting on another channel on YouTube, Malika the Warrior, for those of you who remember her. We rode together and covered that story to a point to where it became one of the most incredible stories that took our hearts. If you're not familiar with Kanika Jenkins, she was a 19-year-old that was found dead at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. She also went to a party with friends and somehow or another became inebriated and found herself by herself walking through the hallways of the hotel in the lower level areas up until she ended up in a back kitchen area. And so far, that's where my investigation led to her being in that back kitchen area in the basement until there was video surveillance footage that showed us otherwise. And she ended up upstairs in an industrial commercial kitchen freezer, kosher kitchen freezer. Whether it was on or off, it's still speculation there. How she was found by the assistant food and beverage manager, and then first responding officer, and then the team of officers that investigated and infiltrated that area. There was a lot of problems going on with that death investigation. And so when I looked at this, I said, wow, there's some similarities here, because here's a young 16-year-old, not 19, that supposedly went to a party with a friend, made it there, and once again, someone inadvertently had alcohol there. How it got there, we don't know. But the story goes that she did consume alcohol enough to inebriate her to a point to where a so-called friend, Sammy Smith, was supposed to ride with her, be her ride back home. And she ended up changing her mind because she saw KIELY was inebriated. She wasn't getting in the car. No. She was going to find another ride home, leaving KIELY by herself. And to a certain point within the timeline, at around 12:30-ish, her phone was pinged for the last time, only to find out there was no answer. What happened to this young lady? Why didn't she make it home? Well, tonight, in covering this story, we're going to start with the most recent article, and this is from NBC News. Authorities confirm KIELY RODNI's body was in the vehicle and was found submerged in a California lake. The 16-year-old vanished on August 6th after she attended a party at Prosser Family Campgrounds in an area known as the Sanctuary in Truckee. Now, I'm sure that you guys are familiar with the press conference that took place most recently with the Nevada County Sheriff's Office, Placer County Sheriff's Office, FBI, and Special Rescue Squad team, where they tried to give an account of what they knew then. I believe this was the 22nd of this month, what they could tell about the case. A lot was brand new to them at the time, because that's when the vehicle was found. Thank you for joining us. Nana's Angels is in the house. Just rolling with it. Okay, is in the house. Mama J is in the house. Red Miller Rickson is in the house. Thank you for joining us. And so tonight we're just going to cover some of the basics. I'm going to show you a couple of points of my perspective as to what I see about this case. And to begin with, let's do this first. I got to come back. We got to put a safety on. You know what that safety is all about. Under the copyright disclaimer, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, this disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So these are our disclaimers. We're going to be using news articles, video clippings, and then some independent points of view tonight to give you a perspective as to where this case may be going. So far, the information that we have gathered and that has been out there on the internet, I only take about 20%, give or take, of what I heard on the internet. The rest is research. And that's what a lot of people have been doing on this particular case. So to get into it, let's go to the actual clip here that they have. Hopefully I can play it without any issue. And type a 1 in the chat if I'm coming in loud and clear. And hopefully everything will play out right. So here I'm just going to turn up the volume a little bit. I don't know. Whenever they do these pressers, I notice the volume is so low. The volume is so low. How many of you come across that too? Type a 1 in the room. 1 for yes. Volume is so low. Every time they do these pressers, you can hardly hear them. You got to put your headbuds in, headphones on, and go to your TV, blast up the volume switch just to hear what these people got to say. And sometimes I think they do it purposely with all the microphones, and they should have the best sound and everything to give you the information as to the reasons why they're there at the press conference. I just don't understand it. All right, we got good sound check. Yeah, you figure these are professional people, professional production, broadcast people that should have their equipment checked. But that's just the way we get it, folks. So let's listen in on part of the revelation that authorities confirmed that the body inside of a 2013 Honda vehicle, CVR, that was found on August 22nd had the body of Miss KIELY RODNI, age 16.
Confirmation of a heartbreaking discovery 2 weeks after 16-year-old KIELY RODNI disappeared from the Prosser family campground in Truckee. Her SUV with a body inside pulled from a nearby reservoir.
Relieved just to know that there's some closure, but beyond sad that it's had to possibly be not a good outcome.
Law enforcement originally feared KIELY was kidnapped after she vanished from a party with hundreds of teens at the Prosser family campground. For weeks, dozens of local, state, and federal law enforcement searched by air, foot, and boat, but it was a private Oregon search team that ultimately found her car upside down in 14 feet of water, not far from where she went missing.
So I went over it several times and I knew it looked suspicious.
We focus on the positives, and that's we were able to provide answers to a family who no longer has to live in a nightmare of not knowing.
Nick Wren and Doug Bishop are part of the 6-man team who specialize in using water sonar technology to help find missing people. They shared this video showing KIELY's car upside down in the water and the sonar equipment they used to spot it.
Between the 3 different images, we are able to manipulate it. Each one complements the other. And between the 3, we're able to detect everything that's on the, the bottom of a waterway in low water areas.
Tonight, many are asking why authorities didn't find it sooner. Nevada County Sheriff's Office says they searched the same area earlier, but explained changing water levels and other factors complicated their search.
How did we not find it when we were searching? The lake was extensively searched with side sonar, with an ROV. We had divers, we had swimmers. I think that's part of what we're going to have to go back to do and debrief.
Tonight, in a statement, KIELY's family is thanking the community for their support, saying in part, "While we accept the sadness cast under death's shadow, the rising sun shines light upon us, reminding us not to mourn our loss. KIELY will surely remain with us, even though we will not get her back."
And that's the amazing part. There was a search 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, both land and water. Nevada County Sheriff's Department, along with search and rescue, used the same equipment, sonar equipment, almost equivalent to the Garmin equipment that was used by AWP. Yet they did not find her car anywhere. And they were told, AWP, the search party that did find KIELY's car, they were told that they already searched a particular area that they were interested in searching, that there was no need to cover that particular area. However, they insisted, and I'm glad they did, because lo and behold, 35 minutes later, they ended up finding KIELY's car in a place that had already been searched after nearly 2 weeks of searching in the water, on the land, and throughout the park. And as you heard, the police chief, Nevada County Sheriff's Office there, they're going to have to go back and debrief. I saw he was red in the face, and I'm saying, okay, he's been put on the spot. He's taking it on the chin. There was some things there that didn't go right for them for some strange reason, but hopefully that'll come out. That'll come out later on in the investigation now that they have found KIELY's car and KIELY, where we're waiting right now for a full autopsy report, which may or may not be released to the public, determining on what the findings are and how the family feels. I believe that portions of the autopsy will be revealed, whereas maybe other portions may not, according to how the family wants the public to get this autopsy information. Toxicology will take about 4 to 6 weeks, and as well as forensics on KIELY's car. When we say forensics, they're going to be checking everything from the driver's side door window to the broken rear view mirror on the driver's side, door panels, door locks, ignition points, any other doors or windows that might have been damaged due to how the vehicle entered the water and why it was found upside down in the water, 55 feet from shoreline, 14 feet deep, sitting on the top of his roof. Just want to get the next item up here. Welcome everyone who's joining us. Welcome, Laura. Just saw that you got in there. Okay. What was very interesting I was able to find was that there was a gentleman that was able to go into that area. Let me show you here, first of all, on Google Maps, what I was able to cover. And I have to make certain corrections. Based on the first live I did, I noticed that I was in the wrong area. And I had to come back tonight to show the correction to that area. This is Prosser Lake Reservoir. I assume the search team that found her was Adventures with Purpose. Correct, Humongous. I know if anyone could find her, it's them. Yes, they found her 35 minutes after they hit the water, entered the lake in an area which is specified here. Now, this campground is huge. This reservoir is about 1.6 miles in length and about 1.3 miles in diameter. When I first approached this, I was looking at how the park was structured, all the routes to the park, and how KIELY got there. When I first started, I was way over here in this area, thinking that it was sanctuary, the sanctuary area. And we talked about in the last live that KIELY could have parked her car here in this parking area, thinking that when she did pull out, she made a right turn, followed this road, made another right turn, now thinking that, oh my goodness, this is not the road I took coming in, only to find herself over here at this point, thinking that the car went into the water here. I covered that information. I said, okay. I went on to RJ's channel, and lo and behold, we had a new spot, which was closer to this point. From the same identical area that I had talked about on my previous live, only to do some more research and digging and found out that I was off, extremely off. And so tonight I have the proper coordinates been confirmed by the SF Investigates, the private investigator, Steve, who did post a diagram on Facebook, and he was able to give a positive identifying marks as to where the party location was and where KIELY's car eventually ended up, which was right here. 55 feet away from shoreline and 14 feet of water, sitting on what I would believe here would be a ledge area in 14 feet, because as you go deeper into this section here, the water does become deep. Word out there at the same time said her car was 300 feet or a few hundred yards away from the party area, and then now 600 feet. But the identifying marks on the Facebook posting that was posted by Steve puts the exact location of the sanctuary here in this spot where they were partying amongst the tree areas here in this little nook hub where they were gathered around, and they were all about the area here. So now, where was KIELY parked? Remember, when I first started, I thought it was here. That would be too far away from the actual party grounds. we did find out is that it was relatively close. And if there was any place that a car could park, it could be here, exactly where the water line is. And as you can see, and this, I'm using Google Earth, and this is a 1024 2020 version. You can get a much better, clearer version from Google Maps, which I should have pulled out. But just to give you an illustration as to what you see here, this is enough room for cars to park and also close enough for folks to be entering into this area where the sanctuary is. But as you can see, this is large enough for cars to park. Also, we do see some vehicle activity all in this area. Swirls, the cars were doing loops, all kinds of things. Well, one of the things that the Nevada County Sheriff's Office did mention is that there is a high volume of traffic in this area throughout the park, throughout the campgrounds between May to October. I tried to make a phone call to them this afternoon. I wanted to get the time of the park hours. I didn't see anything written out in reference to park hours. We're open at this time, we're closed at this time. So I wanted to ask them, were there park hours like most parks would have? The second thing I wanted to ask them, I wasn't able to get through. There was a voice message, if you know your party's extension, please dial the extension now. If not, you could leave a general message. So I left a general message. Hopefully they'll call back. But the second thing I wanted to find out is that since this party, and this is what's out there on the internet, since this party was at least posted, this event was at least posted at least a month or two prior to the event itself for a large number of folks to gather. And that would make sense. So if this was posted at least a month or so in advance, and the park saw that posting or had any idea of the posting, I wanted to know, why didn't they have security or police officials, park officials monitoring this huge party that was posted 30 to 60 days prior to the party? Those are two important questions because it gives us some kind of idea as to how they monitor the park to make sure that if people are camping here, they do have a safe and good experience, and that since it was at night, they would make sure that everyone left the park safely, that no one got lost, and that there was no funny business going on. And to me, it would only make sense to have someone there at the park have some kind of monitoring going on, especially for an event like this, which, according to news and the mainstream media, said that there were several hundred people here, 200 to 300, give or take. Could have been more. Then again, it could have been less. That number is also questionable. It's also questionable. But this gives you an exact idea of the location of where Kylie's car was eventually found. It also gives you a possible parking location, which would only make sense relative to how close the party was here in this area called the sanctuary, there or about. It could be anywhere between 300 and 600 yards. Either way, they're in this particular vicinity. And mind you, it would only make sense to park your car close to that vicinity. listening to Sammy Smith's interview of the girls going back and forth to the car. They were trading shots, doing shots, charging their phone. It only tells me if they began to become inebriated or drunk or, they're in that party mode, it would only make sense for them to be close enough to the car to be doing all that running around. But for her to have stated in an interview on American Dream Chaser, her own words, I wasn't getting in Kylie's car. She was too drunk. No one would get into a car with a person who's under the influence. And she didn't. She had changed her mind. She found another ride home. With whom, we don't know. But knowing that KIELY was her ride home, she never even thought about KIELY to make sure, being that she was inebriated, to make sure that she got home safely or that there was someone to drive her car and get her back home safely. You see, a real friend would have even called an Uber, a cab. Call mom and dad. Hey, Kylie's in bad shape. We're at this party. She had a little bit too much. She's not feeling well, and I don't want her to drive. She is in no condition to drive. Can you come out here to the park and pick her up? Boom. We would have been able to avoid all of this, I believe. And just sharing my thoughts with you now. But this could have been a parking location here. It's big enough. It looks like there's a lot of vehicle traffic here. It is an easy access point to the party, as we see. And we also have to remember, too, that none of this area is illuminated with lights. So this would be a very difficult area at night. We don't know what the temperature of this area was that night. We know it wasn't 80, 85, 90, 100 degrees out because we're dealing with night temperatures. So it may have been cool during the evening. Just giving you my points of perspective here. See what we got going on in the chat. Yes, John, not a good friend, not true at all. That's right, Mama J. Nasty girl, not a true friend. I got you. Why did Sammy want to stay later if, according to her, the party was scary? Good point. Good point. They did have another friend by the name of Mags, also a party member, who was there for only 10 minutes. Whatever that experience was for her, she didn't stick around long enough. She left with possibly a boyfriend, but also, I wonder what her experience was at this party. Maybe that will also come out as they pursue the death investigation. Hopefully she'll be able to tell us in her own words. When I got there, this is what I saw, because obviously no one's talking. And that I found very strange. No pictures of the party, no videos of the party, other than those phony videos that were posted over the last couple of days on the internet, which I don't believe are any videos of that party, because there were building structures in a few of them that I saw. And as we could see here, there are no solid building structures in this area at all. And even if it was a bathroom, one of those porta potty bathrooms that they usually put out in park locations, just in case you got to go to the bathroom. Why would they have to go in the woods to go to the bathroom if there was a porta potty there. Absolutely. But by Sammy's own admission, she states that they did share shots. According to that interview, she said that they shared shots, alcohol. So hence, by her own admission, they were drinking. Also, did Ronnie say people party there all the time? Yes, I don't know about you guys, but in the Northeast, we have quiet time after 10 to 11 p.m. And the fact that the campground just let kids party is a liability. I agree, T-Spiracy. I truly agree. And that's why I wanted to find out from park officials what time was the park open, and if it was open to a certain time, who do they have monitoring the park just to be sure that people left the park at closing hours safely and not got lost? Liability. Correct. The bathrooms may have been far. Not all camps have porta potties. They probably lock the bathrooms. If it was a building that had, men and women's bathrooms that some parks do, yeah, those could have been locked at that time, or could have been too far away. And yeah, that's a good question, Melissa. Is alcohol allowed? So they will be definitely finding out a whole lot more about the parks policy when it comes to reserving park and camping spots. I know that camping spots were $20, and for every car, it's like $5 per vehicle or something like that to park, give or take. That was just the general information I came across, but I wanted to find those two things out. Were there park hours? And if so, who do they have monitoring the park until closing? Since we're giving you a bird's eye view, I thought it was also a good idea to give you a different point of view. So I'm going to go back to screen share here, share my full whole screen with you. And let's get into taking a look at a short video clip that I was able to find from the private investigator on a drone footage that he was able to take of the specific area that we're talking about here tonight. I wanted to be able to show you from a land visual point of view how everything is when you're on the ground to a degree. This doesn't have any sound, but this just gives you an absolutely clear visual of the water, the terrain, the park, elevations, etc., the full general surroundings, topography, if you will. And this is that area. And he's using drone footage here to give us an idea of the area along the shoreline here, how close tire tracks are to the water. As you can see here, just off to my right, you can begin to see vehicle tracks in this general area. Do people ride and drive along the shoreline? Answer, according to this video, yes. How close? Well, pay attention and you'll be able to see the actual vehicle tracks that cover this area. He did a magnificent job in really scanning this area. I'm getting to a part here in the park area that has water receded back into this area. And he did it on a great day. It's a beautiful day. You'll be able to see the roads on how these roads go up and down here, up and down, almost like speed bumps, but spaced out. Not enough to jolt your car, though, but allow you to travel the road, traverse the road. And yes, these tracks could be from searchers as well. But this was during the time the search had already commenced. And the PI, Steve, was out here taking drone footage. He was working on behalf of the family. And you can see over here to the right how close some tire tracks are. Could be ATV tracks. What the water looks like from a bird's eye view, looking straight down. See the reflection of the clouds, the color of the water, the clarity of the water. And thank you all for joining us. Yeah, there are dirt bikes, ATVs go out here, Jeeps go out here. Certain dirt bikes could go out here because you're dealing with that kind of terrain to have the type of vehicle that would definitely help you to navigate this terrain a whole lot more comfortable than having a standard Toyota Corolla, let's just say. But now you can see the roads, the tire tracks, how long they are, park length, foliage in the background, how tall trees are compared to that. And he's pointing in the area of the sanctuary now. As you can see, the Y in the road comes here and cuts to the left and to the right. And their party area is right back up in here. Not very far. You can see the size of this vehicle as compared to the terrain itself, giving you a very clear idea how large the terrain is. Yes, I did. I was able to catch a little piece of that, Carol. Thank you for sending me that. There was a lady who drove the roads through this area as well. Said that it was a guy sleeping under a mattress out here with no clothes on. I said, "Oh, she don't need to be out there. He got a mattress too." And this is the sanctuary area right up in here. This nook, this hub. Isolated. No lamps. No lights. It definitely gives you a very, very clear idea as to the layout of the land. Which is far better than looking at it on Google Earth. Well, to me, anyway. As you can see, here is the actual spot. Over to the left, where my pointer is where KIELY's car ended up 55 feet away from shoreline. Leslie B is in the house with Mr. Boss Blake. Y'all coming in blue together. Where y'all been? What movie you came from? Was it a movie? I don't know. They probably used car headlights. Yes, I would think so. You know, you wouldn't cover this terrain at night without having both low and high beams on all, because you've got to see the road. And hence, they were up in here in this area. Right here. Anywhere between 300 yards to 600 yards from what we've been able to find out so far is where they were and where Kylie's car was found. So it gives you an idea in terms of distance how far they were from each other. And obviously, once again, heading back south of this area, now you're able to see that fork area that cuts to the left and to the right. Vehicle track here on the outside of the shoreline, as well as a road that connects you back toward the main road where folks enter in and out of this area to get to the park. And this is why I said this area here near the shoreline is a very big area enough for them to have parked their cars. If there were 200 people, if there were 300 people, 500 people, give or take, it would be an ideal location. And then again, if you're dealing with young party goers, in which they were, they could have been parked all up along the hill. They keep the cars close. And one of the photos that was posted online, which was a group shot that Sammy Smith had posted or got out there somehow, we see a group of the party facing in one direction, some in a circle, some in a semicircle, and then some looking in a specific direction because of some car lights or a light in the distance way in the back. And the stories that came out is that, oh, that could have been her car entering the water and everyone saw it. Up until the officials tell us otherwise. A picture can say 1,000 words. Keep that in mind. And if that's what people wanted to see, that's what they said. There's no confirmation as to when that picture was taken, nor was metadata extracted from it to give us the exact time and the date on how genuine and authentic that picture is. It was just posted on the internet, maybe to feed the fuel of the conversation, knowing that people would pick it up and run with it, give or take, without checking it out. Well, you know how it is on these YouTube streets. You know how it is on YouTube streets. Drop a picture. Oh, man. Whatever the picture depicts, you better hope you're not in it. They tear you apart until the truth of that picture officially comes out. And so I'm waiting. I think we're getting to a point at the end of this video clip, but I want to get it to a particular point where you can actually see that area that we covered on Google Earth and how relatively close in terms of walking distance this is. So if they did park anywhere along the hill, on the side of the area here. Remember, it's dark, but there would be enough room here in this general area for people to park their cars. There's a lot of traffic work in and around this area here near the shoreline, and even as he came from this area to come around to show us this view, yeah, plenty of room. Absolutely plenty of room. And it's great to see that. Oh wow, I almost got 80 people up in here. Hopefully you hit the like button. Show your attendance for KIELY RODNI. Let her know that you were with John Q. We're trying to get to the truth. We're trying to disseminate as much information as possible and give everyone the best information so they can have different viewpoints. That's the whole thing. It's all in perspective. Perception plays a very important part in our lives. And to get the best perspective so that you can perceive it correctly is of the utmost, especially if you're in the true crime community. I don't think I am. I just cover these stories, help the missing person cases move along if I can, help the families that these stories impact in ways working behind the scenes, just like I'm doing with the Daniel Robinson case, working directly with David Robinson to find his son, 25-year-old Daniel Robinson, who went missing 8 days after Summer went missing in the month of June. Him on the 23rd, Summer on the 15th of 2021. He's been out there in the Arizona desert looking for his son for just about the same time Summer was missing out of Rogersville, Tennessee. We saw what the parents of Summer Wells did. However, we see what David's doing. We see also what's happening in this story. That there were search parties out here from the time of the missing persons report, searching this area well over 2 weeks, both land and water. And when it came to this particular point, I'm wondering what information out of all of this huge area of Prosser Lake, 35 minutes after hitting the water, what made them come to this particular area or location? Well, basically common sense. Where was the party? It was over here in the back. Okay, where did people park? Possibly here. Well, let's look over here then. And sure enough, lo and behold, sonar went in the water. 35 minutes later, was identified by the diver Nick and his team, and he had found a vehicle that was turned upside down 55 feet from the coastline, from the shoreline, in 14 feet of water. So they were probably scratching their heads. Well, why in the hell these people find a car? They've been out here 2 weeks. They've been using the same equipment, relatively. We don't know, but they're certainly taking it on the chin. They are certainly taking it on the chin. Yes, Labrier is in the chat. Yes, I am doing well. Thank you very much. So when it comes down to just common sense, identify, I would have came here too. I would have said, where's the party? Over here. Okay, where do people park the car? Well, they could have parked all along here and over there where the shoreline is. They go over there to the shoreline, start to see how heavy the traffic is in that particular area. And so, well, let's start here. This is exactly what they did. And to their amazement, the car was right there. Thank God they were called in, because hadn't they come and this area had been already searched several times, where do you think KIELY and her car would be today? Where would she be today? This would have gone on and on and on and dwindled out. And we're all thinking, okay, abduction, kidnapping, somebody's got her, somebody took her, this, that, and the other thing. The car went to a chop shop. All these various different stories and scenarios came up out of this. I said, nope, we'll wait. Something is going to turn. Even though it's about the 2-week marker, which is bad because time is of the essence when someone goes missing. Oh, you got to get groceries, Mama J? Okay, get them groceries. Leanne Ferguson is in the house. Good for you to join us, Leanne. So hence we have singing what the park looks like. Just to give you a clearer visual. And hence the area, the general area here, compared to this automobile sitting on the road pointing in that direction, gives you a very good idea as to how that car ended up in the lake. Now, the other thought, or thoughts most people have, is that did she drive into the lake herself because she was inebriated? Did someone push her car into the lake? Did an accident occur in the parking area where many cars may have been? Someone got pissed and purposely, knowing where her car was located, pushed her car into the lake. There are a lot of different questions out there. And so one thing for sure, since they have found the vehicle, and once forensics has been done thoroughly on the vehicle, both front and back end, we'll find out if she was in a collision with another vehicle, trying to get out of the park since everybody was leaving at around the 12:30 marker. So here we have video surveillance footage of KIELY at 6:08. She's wearing a black bodysuit top with jeans and possibly some outdoor footwear, sneakers. 6:08. They get to the party at about 10 o'clock, a little thereafter. 10 minutes later, one of their party friends leaves. I believe it's Mags, if I'm not mistaken. How long would it take the autopsy? For the autopsy, autopsy's been performed. That's just for them to get everything down on paper. Toxicology, on the other hand, can take 4 to 6 weeks. So they have the autopsy all wrapped up. And it's just a matter of putting it all down on paper, having, sign-offs from the medical examiner's office. That then goes to the copy of that goes to the investigation itself, the Nevada County Sheriff's Department, as well as the FBI, all the law enforcement officials that were involved in this case. Once that's done and toxicology comes back, I don't believe they're going to be releasing the autopsy in its entirety. That's just my feeling. I could be wrong. I like being wrong too. Just like I did when I first picked up the case and found out I wasn't where, I was supposed to be in the park. So we do know that toxicology, does take a little time. Did she have something in her system? GHB, fentanyl, any kind of date R drug, they'll find it. They'll find it. Now, if there's no foul play and she was inebriated, she could have drove her car from this location thinking that she was going to get back on the main road and accidentally hit the water. This could be deemed an accident. I am not deeming it an accident until it's proven to be an accident. How about you? Type a 1 in the chat if you feel the way I do, or think in general way that I do, to say I'll wait. Because there's so much out here on the story right now. We can call it what it is that we want to call it, but when it does come back, it may be called that, or it could be called something else. I say wait. They just got the information on the 22nd. Hell, today is only what, the 24th? So let them process this information. We hope that they do their job like they're supposed to do and not be complacent because they're called chief of police, medical examiner, and all these other titles and whatnot. Knowing that this is a high-profile case, this is not only national, it has gone global. And a lot of folks, to a degree, don't feel that this is an accident, that there may have been some kind of, real heavy issue going on here. A lot of the narrative that came out early from her friend, quote unquote, so-called friend, Sammy Smith, kind of put a plug on a lot of this, isolated herself from KIELY, is what I picked up. She separated herself. Wasn't going to get in KIELY's car because she was what? Inebriated. Did Sammy go home with KIELY that night? Well, no. Well, it must be the truth. If your friend was inebriated, why didn't you make sure she got home? Since you decided to do otherwise. Right. And so once it's determined what this is, right now they're treating it as an accidental fatality. I like the way they call that. The English words, my goodness. I thought, English was something in when you play pool. But the spin on words, during the Kanika Jenkins case, it was called a death investigation. Somebody died? Yeah. Well, we'll investigate. Okay. Did someone die here? Yeah. Well, we'll investigate. It's a accidental fatality. How do you jar that up already? Accidental fatality. I said, okay. This is a death investigation. You have an autopsy? Yeah. Okay. You have toxicology? Yeah. All right. You get forensics on a vehicle? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's a death investigation. Because when they did it for Kanika, they did the same thing. To a degree. To a degree. If you're not familiar with that story, I do have videos on my channel. Humongous has videos on his channel. He's in the chat. Mr. Boss Blake has got videos on his channel. He's covered the Kanika Jenkins case. Take a peek at what his recent videos tell about lip gloss and locations where lip gloss was found. Very, very interesting video. It is, 5 minutes to really get you to see what he wants you to see. And when you do, you're like, oh my goodness. Okay. That girl had this lip gloss, which is the same color in her hand where she was standing in the elevator. And there was a lip gloss in the freezer where Kanika was, and it's the same damn color and the same top. Could you then deduce that that person was where Kanika ended up? You be the judge. Great video. And the case today is in a civil trial state. Her mom is currently fighting in the case to find out what happened to her daughter. And security knows exactly what happened because they were the ones in control of the Vivotech camera system that the hotel had. They were the ones who were responsible for making sure that there was security posted in that hotel 24/7 for not only Kanika, but for everybody. Everybody. Everybody, not just Kanika. But what do you get on the public safety website concerning her case? Over 4,000 chopped up files, chopped up timelines. And when you play the videos, they start to skip. So they did bad copying and then put it on a website for everyone to believe, yeah, there was no foul play. It was an accidental death. And that's what they're fighting for right now in a civil trial. Hopefully they'll be able to glean information from the civil trial, at least enough of the criminal aspect that may come up out of there to open up a criminal case later. We'll see. We'll see. It's been ongoing. Year number 5 is next month on the 9th, the anniversary of Kanika's death at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. Here, we're just getting started. Just getting started. I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully you have a better insight from this drone footage. And I'm sure everyone has seen different drone footages from different channels. And that's great because your input and intake on this case is important. Because if you see something that says, oh, wait a minute, that looks like foul play. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm a little bit clear about the accident theory. Oh, wait a minute. You'll be able to see it and capture it. Was there anything else? Let me see if I had. Yes. Here's the young lady who wanted to take command of this whole investigation from day one. This is Sammy, the so-called friend who left KIELY by herself. This was the same person who was supposed to ride home with KIELY that night from the party. This was the host of that party. And she told a story, an incredible story that's well worth listening to on American Dream Chasers YouTube channel. It's about 17 minutes and 48 seconds long. I suggest you listen to it. And I want you to just pretend she's talking to you personally. Tell me what happened, Sammy, and then play the video. You'll hear the dialogue and the questions go back and forth, and then you'll be able to read exactly what she said. It's crazy. You'll be able to read exactly what she says. That's a good question. Can we hear it, please? I would love to play it. I do not chance it. Only because I may get struck for playing this particular content creator's content. I've seen this played on a few other channels out there. I don't know if they're having any issues, but I would rather not. Only due to the fact that there was a lot of, let's just say there was a lot of drama on the channel, and I'd rather not chance it. That's why I would rather refer you to the channel so that you can find the video of the interview and see it for yourself. Oh, shoot. Yeah. And, you know, there are some content creators out there that'll put it on different speeds to channel off maybe a I don't do speed. I don't cut videos. I try not to do anything to take it away from its original form. You're going to play it on the natural speed in its natural state and let people understand what's going on. That increasing the speed stuff, I never got that. Maybe it's due to just me, just thinking about it. You're listening to Mickey Mouse and you're trying to no, what is she talking about? Authenticity, of course. But see, yeah, based upon what comes out of this death investigation now that's taking place, I'm sure that they're going to line up their ducks, line up statements, and everything. And I wouldn't be surprised if this young lady here, whether she be in school at the time they're finished, ends up knocking on her door and say, "Give it to me one more again. What happened that night?" And then goes to Kate. "Give it to me one more again. What happened that night?" Goes to Mags. "Give it to us one more again. How'd y'all get there? Remember what time you got there? Remember what you saw there before you left 10 minutes after? Did the boyfriend pick you up? What's his name? What are his impressions? How can we get in contact with him? When he got there, what did he see? Etc., etc., etc. They're covering a new investigation level in the same case. So whatever they told law enforcement in the beginning of a missing case, now they would have to retell the story in a death investigation. One more again now. And that's when they catch you. The information on the phones will come back as well, especially Kylie's phone if it was found in the car. We know that they tried, it was pinged at the 12:33 mark. And this young lady here said that KIELY called her at 12:36. That will be challenged. You better believe that will be challenged. In fact, they didn't even verify the call during the missing persons case. I didn't see any reports of their phone conversation, KIELY and Sammy, at 12:36 ever being verified. It's sort of like Jody Sue's scream that's been unfounded in the Summer Wells case. You see, I wonder what communications they had via text message and phone calls before KIELY went missing. And if they have to get warrants, they will. Whether they get it voluntarily or whether they get it with warrants, the death investigation will lead them to get the information that makes sense. You better believe that. Because I'm sure that KIELY's parents are going to make sure that they stay on law enforcement's tail throughout this whole ordeal that they're going through concerning their daughter. No doubt, because I would. You found my daughter's car, you found her car, okay, get to the deal, go to work, and then tell me what happened. Period. And I'm not going to turn my back until I get all of the facts, until I'm satisfied. Because if somebody needs to, of course, be arrested, the evidence will point to that. If this was an accident, the evidence will point to that. We just hope that people do their job honestly, with integrity, to the utmost. That's where the truth is. It's never been any other place than where it's always lived, but it lives with principles. We see that across the entire nation. on the conduct of some police departments, whether it's a missing case report, a death investigation, or they're the cause of the deaths in this country. Where's integrity? Where's loyalty? Where's honesty? We get to see what they look like too, folks. We get to see exactly what they look like. They can't hide from the truth in the Breonna Taylor case, because now there are federal indictments on those 4 police that were involved in her death. So we have to stay vigilant, We have to stay vigilant when it comes to law enforcement taking care of what they're supposed to take care of, that protect and serve. We want to make sure that they're not protecting and serving themselves. They are supposed to be protecting and serving us. Are we good with that? Type of 1 in the chat. Are we good with that? Because if you're not, you're in the wrong neighborhood. But this young lady here, Sammy Smith, age 18, the host of the party, will have a lot of questions from law enforcement. She should have. She should have. No doubt. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Comments in the chat. From what you guys have gathered, this is what I want to know from you. Looking at this case, following the case, and now looking at Sammy Smith, what are your impressions? What do you see about this young lady here? I was buffering. Can you all hear me? Happy says jealous. Lorraine Muhammad is in the building. Miss Queen Lioness. Labria says yes. Humongous says yes. Miss Lorraine Muhammad says yes. Sammy tried to control the narrative. Angel P. Robin B says yes. Holocene. Sammy Sue. More digging needs to be done on Sammy. Yes, RJ. Oh, the buffering and stuff was on your end, Leanne? Okay. Miss Justice says yes. Yeah. What are your impressions of Sammy? What are your impressions? You see a girl hiding a lot of things, Leanne. Popular, leader, entitled, Pammy B says. CLH, how are you? Jackie says jealousy. Leslie B says Denzel once said the loudest person in the room usually has something to hide. The loudest person in the room usually has something to hide. Amen. Amen. Tracy said the same thing. That's what I was thinking. Jealousy. Miss Justice says selfish. Strange she left before AWP searches showed up. Yeah, Carol. Very strange. My thumbnail was head on. Well, thank you, Happy. She's a stoner, Pippi Longstockings. Yeah, she looks like it. She looks like she can go deep. Controlling the narrative. Yes, Holocene. AP says jealousy. Don't trust her face or like her face, Laura Croft said. Sammy left her friend in a dangerous, vulnerable situation, then almost bragging on it Penny Patton says, yeah, I felt that way too during her interview. Robin B says 100% jealousy. Oh, she's 16 and she's smart. She's very smart. And I just felt that she would be smart enough to know how to get back home by herself. Since she wanted to stay at the party, I assumed that she was going to sleep overnight. How the hell could you assume that when 11:30 you were there with her when she, quote unquote, allegedly texted her mom at that time to let her know when she would be home, idiot? Let me stay on point. People think that the parents tell their teens not to drink and party and drive because they're afraid they will be the ones in the water. But the parents know they can be accused as well, rightly or wrongly. Yeah, there could be someone will be culpable. And I believe to a certain degree, that Sammy does play a part in the culpability as to what had occurred. Not to say that she did anything directly, it was more of her not being there that allowed this to occur. Knowing her friend was inebriated and she decided not to ride with her, but also decided not to make sure she got home good. That she'll live with the rest of her life. She's going to live with that part now for the rest of her life. That assumption she made about her spending the night at the park, oh, it cut me listening to the interview because that's exactly what she says. During this interview, American Dream Chaser, YouTube channel, the interview is 17.48. Listen to it and pretend she's telling you, just you and her, the story as to what happened. You'd be amazed. The text that Sammy put out saying AWP found Kylie before anyone else did. She can't even spell correctly, and she's going to college, can't speak or spell correctly. Not so dumb, Blonde said. I'm wondering if Sammy liked Kylie as in a girlfriend type of way. Okay, let me back up. I'm almost wondering if Sammy liked Kylie as in a girlfriend type of way with some things she said. She noticed Kylie as soon as she got to the party. She noticed Kylie. Yeah, you can begin to think about that. So she also said they were getting drinks in Kylie's car. Yes, Happy. She's 18. Could she be charged for the alcohol since 18 is an adult? She could be. She could be. If they drank together, think about it. She's as culpable as giving alcohol to a minor. That's a bad decision, isn't it? They got to find out where they got the alcohol from, who purchased it, and why was it in Kylie's car? If it was. She does also admit that they were drinking together. She can't get out of that box. By her own admission, she said it. So if Kylie was drinking, what was she drinking, Sammy? Okay, what were you drinking? What were the same shots that you were drinking that you said on that interview with the American Dream Chaser guy? Questions. Because she's questionable. They weren't even true friends from what I heard, Carol Smith. Yes. I screenshotted her text knowing before the parents or Ellie announcement. Okay. I thought I just love your commentary, John Q. In my state, legal age is 21 for alcohol. Robin B, the legal state here is the same. Here in New York is the same. You can't purchase alcohol either. It's the same. Here's a 16-year-old. Something's wrong. You're supposed to go home with her and you didn't. Something's wrong. Did you guys get into a fight? You got pissed off because she was inebriated and now she couldn't take you home. So now you got to find another ride. Hence, hint, hint. I can't believe she got all wasted on me and whatnot. That could have happened too. That could have happened too. Now I've got to find and search out of all of these people who's going my way. Because I'm certainly not getting in the car with her. Illegal to possess it underage too. That's right, Happy. She dug herself into so many holes. Jody M. That's right. Legal age here is 21. Legal age as an adult, 18. Same age as Sammy. Correct. RJ, all states. It's 21, however, in bars and restaurants. Some states allow 18 and over to serve. Okay. All right, but not no 16. See, and that's the number that's really heavy in this case. The 16 number. A 16-year-old ingest. How many pounds was Kylie? 130 pounds? She's small body, small frame. She's petite. How many drinks could she have had to become totally wasted? And then again, hence, we don't know if something else may have been added to her drink since they were drinking. Since you're going to college, and since you're out of, you're finished with all of your school studies and everything else like that. Yeah, welcome to the big league. Let's get wasted. You need to celebrate. Was Kylie encouraged? Peer pressure involved? She was amongst a couple of her friends. I know this one isn't because of her behavior and actions after she went missing. She wanted to conduct the search. She wanted all the information collected from the internet. Anybody that knows anything that's afraid of talking to law enforcement, come to me. Send it my way if you got a video. Send it my way if you got pictures. Anything. You can send it our way, and we'll make sure that law enforcement authorities get your information anonymously. I said, what? Well, somebody gave her a badge or something? She's going to become private investigator? She put herself in a bad position, yes. Yes, and if the Behavior Channel, I would love to see them do an analysis of this interview that American Dream Chaser had with Sammy. What would they say? In fact, if anybody can get in contact with them, that would be a great thing for them to do. They're doing all these Behavior Panel interviews and stuff. Get this one on the books too. Get this one on the books too. Oh, come on. Get this one on the books too. I would be very interested to see what the Behavior Panel comes up with in terms of behavioral analysis on on how she conducted herself during this interview. The eyes were fluttering, the head and neck were moving back and forth, almost like she was reaching for the answer rather than know the answer. There's a lot going on in this interview. That's why I encourage everyone to watch it. Let's see what else I want to share with you here. Oh, see if we get over to this particular area, which is the same outline that we talked about in the Google Earth, as well as the video from the private investigator, Steve. And this gives you a much more realistic overview because there's water, the waterway in this trench here is more apparent. And you can actually see the color of the water. This was taken from one of the news chapters covering the story. I think it was WKRC or something. And how they were able to manage to pull this car up. As you can see, there is a mound there pulling the car up backwards with a tarp on the back. As soon as everyone saw the tarp on the back, I knew they were going to jump to say, oh my God, why is the tarp just in the back of the car? And then later on, they fully covered the car afterwards. But immediately, the tarp went on the back. We also saw damage done to the driver's side window. That's, of course, out there. Under at point speculation as to how that window got broken. Did KIELY break it? Did the divers break it? Did it break by itself when it was upside down? All that will be determined once forensics on the car comes back. The driver's side rear view mirror was broken off. And I also saw some door damage was done to the side. The front lip, just where that rear view mirror was hanging over, there's also some door damage there. I think, I don't know who's, let's see if I can find that picture. Carol, if you have that picture where they are actually on the side of the car and you see the water coming out the door, do you have that picture? If so, could you send it to me just in case? Because I got a whole bunch of stuff here. Okay, let me just do this real quick. Because I was checking that picture out, and you really can't see anything but the left-hand side, the driver's side of the vehicle when they're pulling it out of the water. She was found in the back of the car. She wasn't strapped in. That's what that tells me, just hearing that. She was found in the back. So she wasn't strapped into the driver's seat. How did she get in the car? Hence the question. The main question. Was she driving the car? That's a tough one. I'm not going to answer that because I don't know. I was on your last live, RJ. Makes sense. She's in the back seat. Okay. Yeah, because I figured, if she was unbuckled, car turns over upside down, her body weight, 130, 125, 130. Yeah, obviously gravity is going to work underwater as it does out of water. I heard somebody say something about if we don't find water in her lungs, that's going to be a red flag. Obviously, yes, it's going to be a red flag. If they do find water in her lungs, obviously you're going to know what the determination of that is. But not finding water in the lungs, that's going to be a very interesting turning point. Because it says that she was not driving. She already succumbed to whatever it was she succumbed to. And that becomes a different story now, doesn't it? But I'm not making that a statement of fact at this point. at all. She could have been swimming around frantically trying to get out. Yes. Water's coming in. The engine is the heaviest part of the car. That's tilting first. That's going down. If the car rolled into this water, but you see how high this is. This has got to be at least a 3.5, 4-foot drop here. And then you go into the water. Car begins to float on the water. Wheels are not touching the ground anymore. So now you're stuck. The car begins in the same direction in which it came and at the speed at which it came to begin floating out into the water. You got a problem, don't you? Hence now the engine becomes and starts to get impacted by the water's absorption, the weight of the car, and gravity. Now you've got a pulling effect occurring in the car, pulling the car down into the water from the front and then working its way up in and through the outer exterior portions of that car, through the doors, through the window frames, through the door frames, any window that was open, any crevice underneath the chassis of the car that could have led into the interior of the car, all the way to the back window. Okay, you just emailed it? Okay, let me just do this real quick. We'll come right back. Carol sent me something. I appreciate the assistance, Carol. Absolutely. That's the one I'm looking for. So let me just do this real quick so I can take this and do this. All right, let me do it again. Let me do it one more again. Seems like when I'm live, I get notifications. John Q is live. Everybody flooding with notifications. Okay, got it. And save it. Okay. Now I can show you. When I want to show you something, I want to show you. So now I can show you. You want to see it? First, I got to find it. Hold on. Hold on. I'll get it up here in a sec. And thank you all for joining me tonight. Much love to Leslie B in the house, Aquahoma, Miss Justice, Mr. Boss Blake, Mr. RJ. I always shout my people out in blue holding us down, who cover the room and keep everything running smoothly. Notice that I did some spring cleaning and there's none of that bots crap going on. Thank goodness. All right, John, find a picture. Stop talking. Let's go. All right, ready to go. All right, just give me a second. I was working on it. All right. Got it. Got it. All right. Now, let's go to work. Thank you, Carol. Let me know when everyone can see that. Just type a 1. That's the picture. All right. When I saw this, I said, okay, whoever got this close up, great job. Great job. Because now, without any distortion, you know me, I start to go to work on the car. Just like I worked on Daniel Robinson's car. And this is the only close-up shot, unfortunately, because we should have the front, we should have the other side, we should have the back. But this is an open investigation right now, unfolding. So hopefully they'll be able to show us independent death investigation photographs of the car. But this is what we got, folks. This is all we have to go off of. We do see some kind of evidence here telling us that the driver's side window has been broken completely out, all the way through the frame. Damage number one. Damage number two. Driver's side rearview mirror has been broken off. Was that from the car rolling over underwater? There's a possibility that could have occurred. I hope they get close-ups of that. See if there was any hard abrasive marks from the floor of the from that area where the car landed. If there's any abrasion marks here, broke that off, it'll show up on the exterior plastic covering here. What I also see here is an indentation mark. This has been impacted here on the door. I said that it was impacted in such a way near the lip of the door, the opening here, past this cable. I'm looking at part of this being a cable hookup to actually get the car turned over and pulled out of the water. But here, just here, gotta go to grid, folks. Give me a second. Gotta go to grid. Are you seeing me do some work here, huh? John Q's got his studio grid up. Oh, Lord. We get to see this man working. Here. Y'all can see that? Type of one in the chat if you can see this. We're doing an analysis on the exterior damage of the car right now. Ones we can see, at least. Okay, I got 1-1. Rockin' Robin is in the house. Angel P is in the house. Tracy can see it. Leslie B can see it. Robin B can see it. RJ can see it. Penny Patton can see it. Jackie Barty can see it. Sloan Ranger can see it. How you doing, love? The real Rockin' Robin. Much love to you. Miss Justice can see it. Boss Blake can see it. Come on, and then I need everybody's help, because this is what you're going to be looking for going forward. Oh, Lord. My. Somebody is backstage. I just overlooked what time it is. I'm supposed to be in another meeting. Okay, folks, we got to wrap it up. Let me just send a message real quick. Okay, fishing. Are you going crazy now? Just give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, message sent. Okay, folks, but I wanted you to see this indentation here on the door. We've got 1, 2, 3 impacts on this car. Please keep that in mind. And I'll save a copy. All right. Oh boy. Okay. I just like, okay, time flies. I looked over here and said, okay, 8:49. I think I got some time. I'm supposed to be at a 10 o'clock meeting, folks. You know me. I start to get into stuff. But anyway, I will be able to come back with a follow-up to this, and we'll continue to give you an analysis based on the car's impact points and a couple of pieces of new information. Thank you so much, Carol, for sending me that, because you see, I was getting ready to go to work. I start taking a look at stuff, and I'll find stuff too. We saw the water leaking out of the door, so we still have water weight in the car, decompressing from the car, that also causes weight on the sand while they're dragging it out. So we have extra car weight. We've got the weight of the car plus water weight, which would weigh the car down deep into the sand to create the deep tire grooves on the land as they extracted that vehicle onto out of the water and onto the land. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm sorry to abruptly leave. I have a meeting. I got to meet some folks in backstage. You all have been terrific. Much love to all my moderators that have held tonight's live down. I will be posting a follow-up. We're going to continue. I still got photos to show you as this story develops concerning Miss KIELY RODNI, 16, who lost her life at a park party, was supposed to go home like everybody else, but never made it. Never made it. With that said, as I always say, be well and stay blessed with Godspeed. Until next time, you know what time it is. We'll be talking at you. I'll try to get this posted within the next 48 hours. If it's possible. I got to check my timetable, but I'll be back with a follow-up. Thank you all, and much love to you.